Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new Star Wars stream, part of the Syndicate Star Wars podcast. I'm your host, Ronan Unchained, and I don't know if y'all noticed, but yesterday they dropped a little teaser for something dropping today, I guess, something with animation. I don't know, there's some kid stuff, I guess, like my grandparents would probably say. But we gotta talk about Maul Shadow Lord, y'all. I'm not alone because I've been hitting up my friend and be like, yo, this might happen. We gotta do this. And I got with us Brent, Age of Girl Group. Brent, how you doing, man?
Hey, good, dude. What a crazy morning it's been, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, dude.
it's cool
Um,
stuff.
and we had just talked about a Night of Seven Kingdoms the other day, and we were like,
Mm.
whenever they do drop the Mall trailer, we gotta know. And it was within a day, and I was like, oh
I
shit.
know. The universe is hearing our pleas.
Folks, if you have not seen the trailer, please go check it out. I encourage everybody. It is a phenomenal trailer. Give a shout out to people who worked behind that trailer to bring it to life and the stuff we're going to talk about. Before we start, we have some commenters already saying Finn and Dreffler saying saw it and it's good. Can't wait for the show to air. Nice, nice. Thanks for being here, Finn. Harrison James, hello there. April 6th can't come
Hey,
soon enough.
yeah,
I know, man.
yeah.
Okay, Brent, I'll
Yep.
start with you.
Okay.
We get the teaser yesterday that like
Yeah.
tomorrow it's happening. We're gonna get
Mhm.
the trailer.
Yeah.
I had already told you that we had seen some stuff at Celebration Japan of last year,
Yes. Yes.
and I was just like, where the hell is this?
Yeah.
Teaser that I seen. Why haven't they dropped it yet? And today they dropped it at like an hour after they usually posted that thing yesterday, which I was
Mhm.
like, I woke up at 10 in the morning and be like, oh man,
Yeah.
is it up yet? No, is it up yet? No.
Yeah. Yeah.
But how do you feel about the teaser thus far? While I load up the visuals for you.
Well, the tease itself, I mean, from yesterday, I should say, my first immediate reaction was, they're going to release it a month today. So it's probably going to be coming out around the 20th of February. So I think the biggest shock for me today was like, oh, it's April the 6th. Why is it April the 6th? Why is it a week and a half? Like, why are we waiting a month and a half rather than a month? Most of the other shows have dropped within a month, basically. So that was the first surprise. I was like, okay, they're pushed it. They're making, I don't know. It's fun. As for the actual trailer itself, yeah, I think the animation is just as gorgeous as ever. The choice of camera angles and shots and stuff like that within the trailer lead right back to George Lucas in what he tried to do and when he presented the Clone Wars, finding interesting camera angles, finding interesting ways to move the camera around the scene. That was more important, I think, to George Lucas than a lot of things that he was doing at the time with the Clone Wars. He wanted to make sure that his visual sense of the storytelling was there, and it's really nice to see that we've seen that continuation both into Rebels and the Bad Batch, where the camera choices are a big part, a massive part of the storytelling. It's not just about the script or the dialogue. So I feel like those are kind of the cool things to see, and it just looks like even crazier. Some of these camera angles are just insane, especially when Maul's twirling his saber and stuff. That's like we're getting to see some really cool,
Bro.
beautiful camera work. What I'm most excited to hear is more of the soundtrack of this series by the Kiners. I'm extremely curious whether they will adapt and pull from John Williams' Duel of the Fates, because it's such an iconic piece that relates directly to Maul himself. And I feel like we're going to need to have some of that play through at certain times of the show. The other cool thing is, and we'll get into this more in detail, but Maul's apprentice. I didn't expect it to be actually an pre-existing, obviously Padawan or a Padawan learner or whatever she is at the time. So I think that's kind of interesting because we've got a very interesting perspective here on seeing the Padawan learner be taught, have no choice but to be taught by somebody to go up against, the Empire and see that perspective, I think, for the first time in storytelling of a Jedi really being transformed into someone with, dark side powers in film in this way. So I think that's going to be a very fascinating story to see. So, they're my first impressions. So.
Yeah, man. I listen. First of all, I effing love this logo, and they even like
Yeah,
changed it slightly bit
yeah,
for this teaser. And dude, again,
yeah.
folks, as soon as this teaser dropped, I put out a video that I've been holding out for 9 months, which was I recorded my audio reaction of the
Mhm.
footage we seen at Celebration, and I was like, I can't drop this now. Like it was, hey, yeah, you could hear me like being shocked because we always heard there was a mall project in the works, but it
Right.
was always a hint of like live action stuff.
Yeah,
And then people can theorize why that changed, why that might have now turned into animation. But dude, when we start seeing stuff like this, I was like,
yeah,
yo, this like it looks like I've been using this as an example, but like if we thought the last season of Clone Wars and Bad Batch was 4K animation in
yeah,
Clone Wars era style, this is 8K. Like you see
yeah,
the
yeah,
detail of his clothing,
yeah,
the thematically and visually, it's a darker tone to this show than any of the
yeah,
shows I had seen prior to that. And it's like I was like, what the hell are we getting into with it? And then we did this teaser today, and it's a completely
yeah.
different one than the one I saw
That's what I was going
in
to ask
April.
you. Yeah, how
There's
different is it?
shots that are there are shots from the previous teaser, but it is
Mhm.
different, dude. Like
Yeah,
there's characters that like I don't recall in the first teaser that I had seen that are in this one. Like for example,
yeah,
I don't know if you know this, but like it's been an interesting cast reveal for this
Mhm.
show. The name that stuck to me mostly was Wagner Mora, who people who know him right now are from playing Pablo Escobar in Narcos,
Right.
who just got nominated today for an Oscar for The Secret Agent.
Oh,
He's
cool.
playing Brandon Lawson, who's like a detective in this planet that we're residing in, and he's I'm assuming hunting down Maul and like
Mhm.
trying to investigate and whatnot. But like, yeah, dude, this was a different teaser than the one we got over there, and in so many ways, for anybody who was in Japan or anyone who had seen the footage, this
Mhm.
felt more like an official trailer than a teaser for me.
Right.
The one I had seen in Japan, that felt way more like a teaser, and I was just like, wait,
Right.
what?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
this
dude,
definitely felt like a trailer. And I'll be honest, I'll be fine if this is the only thing we see before the show starts.
exactly
Um,
same.
because we also got the release dates of the show too. And I don't know if you want to dive into that now or later, but it seems like they're doubling up episodes on us,
Yeah,
which is both good and bad because I'm one who enjoys watching a single episode of something and having a week to dwell on it and take it in and see what other people's thoughts are. And
mhm,
the more that we get piled up of episodes back to back, I'm not a big fan of binge watching a new show because
right.
it's done in 8 hours or 6 hours or however long it takes to watch, and it's done. And I'm kind of like, we get to see this in 4 weeks, so we do get a bit of longevity for the viewing of this. But
Yeah,
I'll be honest, I kind of wish it would be over 8 weeks instead, or it was 8 or 10 episodes. I can't remember.
it's 10 episodes in a span of
10.
5 weeks.
Yes, 5 weeks. Okay, yeah.
So yeah, folks who don't know, the show comes out on April 6th,
Hmm.
and it'll be a 2 episode premiere, and then we're gonna lead up all the way till May 4th, and that
Hmm.
on May 4th it'll be the finale
Yeah,
of potentially the first season of this show or the,
yeah,
the the ending of this show. I don't know what it is.
right.
Um,
But it's
before
not
going
a
into more,
mid-season though, right? It's not. We don't think
no
it's a mid-season. It's definitely a season. That's it.
finale. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
finale for either the season or the series. I don't know yet. Like
Okay.
I would hope it's season one.
Yeah.
But we'll see how they go about that. Harrison James does
Yeah.
say it's what made the Clone Wars stand out so much from contemporary animation. The cinematic
Yeah.
camera angles and lighting with each subsequent season show Bad
Yeah.
Batch tales.
Yeah.
They perfected that style. I agree.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
completely agree.
Yeah. Well, this even
Also,
looks
just
like,
so
even from this trailer, it looks like another level again than even Bad Batch. And
there are
that's what I'm
shots
like,
where it's panning to like the
oh,
hilt of him holding the
yeah,
saber and
yeah,
like
yeah,
yeah, dude. Like
yeah.
also he says that also just so happy Samuel, one of the Star Wars goats, finally gets his own lead show. That's been
Mhm.
like his and I'm not making fun of him, I'm calling it out, but like anytime he's had the opportunity to talk about this show at a
Yeah,
con and interviews from Japan to now,
yeah,
he's been saying that like he's always had these ideas and thoughts about like what if we explore this in
yeah.
Maul when he was
Mhm.
working on the Clone Wars or when he was working
Right.
on Rebels or
Yeah,
any other project, and usually Dave Filoni or whoever was in charge of said project would be like, "Nah, man, this is Ahsoka's show. This is
Yeah,
Ezra's
yeah,
show. We can't spend too much time with Maul."
yeah.
And he's been saying that like apparently either someone's been taking notes or be
Mhm.
remembering all these ideas and being like, "Okay, we're gonna do a
Well,
show. So now what do we get to explore?"
I'm curious whether Sam Witwer, I mean, how much he actually had to say about what his ideas were, and B, I wonder if he's attached as an executive producer or something on this show. I mean, that would be kind of
That'd
curious
be
too,
sweet.
because the reality is, if he's got that much input, it means that he kind of is not just the performer, but he's also a little bit of a producer in between there. So hopefully he got both, and he gets to say what he wants to say for us, in this story arc. So we'll see.
Yeah, I would like to think that maybe even on a good day,
Hmm.
if he's had practice or as part of the WGA,
Yeah,
maybe he came up with a story or a script
that could be
co-written
cool.
whatnot. Like that'd be cool because more than any other project, I've seen him so invested in this one. And
Yes,
granted, it's a
totally.
character he's been with since the mid 2010s,
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
or late 2000s,
yeah,
and I would think that would get him going of like other stuff and whatnot.
yeah.
Again, y'all, like there's these shots that like I've been waiting for y'all to see in HK, and dude, they kudos to whoever said that Hollywood studios should start doing this on their YouTube with trailers. They dropped a 4K version of this through the
Mhm.
main YouTube channel Star Wars and Lucasfilm. I was like,
Yeah,
what?
yeah,
And I've been waiting for you guys to see shots like this
yeah.
in 4K the way I saw it on the big screen. I've been waiting for people to see stuff like these of being like, yo, like
So
look
so
at this, dude.
so gorgeous, so gorgeous.
God.
Oof.
Oh
Yeah.
man. But to give a rundown of what we do know of the show thus far is
Mhm.
that this show takes place during the events after the Clone Wars. And from what I
Mhm.
had heard previously, it takes place 1 year
A year
after the
after.
Clone
Yeah.
Wars.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Maul has a small group, but it's
Mhm.
not the whole organization that he had
Okay.
prior to the Siege of Mandalore, where it was
Okay.
a whole crime syndicate, if you will.
Yeah.
And it also he did pose a question. Maul Sam did say to honest that like, what if um, Maul sees what's happened to the galaxy with the Empire,
Mhm.
and what if he wants to do something about it? What if like he knew a change was going to come, but what if this was not what he had envisioned? And what happens when he's considering if he wants to help change this, not be a good guy, but like be like, no, 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 I could do better. And
Yeah.
can he potentially fight back the Empire at this stage
Mhm.
of the Imperial occupation? And
Yeah.
I remember one thing that did really intrigue me a lot is him saying Maul's sworn enemy since he got taken by Palpatine is that the Jedi Knights. The Jedi are
Okay.
gone
Right.
through the word of mouth and just their status in the galaxy. They're
Mhm.
gone. What happens when your sworn enemy is gone, and how do you feel about that? And I'm like,
Mm.
ooh, that is an interesting avenue to explore his
Yeah.
mentality.
Yeah. My questions about this show is in general, whether it's one season or whether it's a couple of seasons long, we don't know yet. Is obviously we now know where we're going to be picking up from. I'm more curious as to where we see this show actually end, because there are two situations that we want to cross between, and that is Solo, when Maul pops up in the middle at the end of Solo there in the live action version, the form of him at least, and seeing that he's in charge of all of that, syndicate group, and B, the second part of that story. See, that feels like a mid story point, and the end story point is when he ends up on Malachor because he gets stranded there, and Ezra eventually finds him in Rebels. So I feel like that's the point I would really like to see. Who strands him there? What's the purpose of that person stranding him there? What was the purpose of Maul going there in the first place to Malachor? And what drove him there? So there's a lot of these little areas, and I don't know. The problem with most Star Wars shows these days is they don't like to fill in every single gap for you. They leave certain gaps open, whether it be for later storytelling or novels or comics or other form of media to be told. But I kind of feel like when we're watching something in television and film, we need a certain amount of closure on certain things. It's nice to set things up for a following season, but it's a different thing on not closing off the end of your show and not giving closure to a arc or a story that you've set up there only to be picked up in the future. That tends to happen a bit. So that's my only concern, is we don't get to see some of those closures that are my big questions, along the way of this journey. At the same time, seeing something new and fresh from Star Wars is also going to be fun too. So we'll have to see.
I get that. I know that like a complaint that people have had where we spent so much time in between the end of episode 3 and the beginning of episode 4,
Right.
the Skywalker films, the Skywalker saga.
Yeah.
That we spent so much time in this time period. Like we're not leaving enough into the imagination of what went down. And like I get that where you want to know some stuff.
Right.
Some instances I do want to leave it into interpretation. The one thing that is bogging my mind that I even am considering, like, do I even want to see this potential topic being brought up or not, is when we see him in Malachor in Rebels season 2, he senses Vader, the Shadow.
Yes.
Like he senses him. And I'm like, are we gonna deal with that in this show? Like, I'm like, is that something worth tackling about? And like, dude, anytime I brought up Maul, anytime I brought up anything like a book, show, a movie with him, you know what I'm going with this. Yeah. I've been wanting more Crimson Dawn stuff the second I left my solo screening.
Oh, same.
I've been wanting more Crimson Dawn stuff. I want more stuff with Dryden Voss and Kira. We do know they have an animated model of Dryden Voss,
right?
Because of what we saw him in season Mandalore for a frame.
Yes,
and I'm like, I think Paul Bettany would want to come back to Star Wars. He seemed like he was a big Star Wars fan. I'm like, give him some material, and like hell. I want to see. I haven't seen ponies yet. Everybody's raving about ponies, but like, get Emilia Clarke back and like give her more stuff to do with Kira. I haven't read her book yet, which I'm trying to find a copy of it. But like, oh, dude, is there something that of what we tackled in the past with Maul that you still feel like there's a lot more you want to dive into and digest? Is there something like you want to?
Definitely a Maul Vader confrontation, but this trailer kind of definitely leads up to the element of it's Palpatine who's more or less saying, I want him dead, and you hear him, them say it in the trailer. So, will we see Palpatine at any point in this in relation to Maul would be interesting. But I think my bigger thing is that, do we actually think we'll see Kenobi go up against Maul at this point, or do we think that tie and that line has been separated to the point that they re-meet each other again in Rebels? That do we feel like that is a possibility? I don't feel I need a Obi-Wan Kenobi Maul confrontation.
I agree with you,
but it is also what drove Maul at that time to want his revenge on Kenobi. That there's always some lingering doubt that he hasn't, that he needs to fulfill that little journey. And again, we ultimately see that in Rebels, but in this show, do we get to see that too? So that's also another big question for me too.
I wouldn't mind if he ponders on Kenobi. Like for example, again, and we'll throw it in with this mix, is that this show's introducing Maul's potential next Padawan, and Devon Izara, played by Gideon Allen, who, if I'm not mistaken, and here I'll bring it up because Harrison did bring it up, could be getting a Darth Talon type based on the trailer, someone who will get persuaded by him, unlike Ahsoka. So Talon is from the EU, right, Brent?
Right. Yeah, I believe so. See, I know very little about Darth Talon. I know what she looks like through the designs that people have dropped online and stuff like that. Yes, she definitely looks like that. Could this be a rewrite of the character? Sure. Is she going to be a Darth? Probably not, because Maul's abandoned and left behind the Darth element and the Sith element of all the Force skills that he's got. What I really liked about in this trailer, and again, I'm sure we're going to do this little rewatch together. But I did enjoy the fact that she looks like she's a former Jedi, obviously an apprentice of some sort, who was forced to leave her master behind and go into hiding, and that it almost feels like from between Maul's dialogue and her speaking when she sees Darth Maul, she recognizes and knows who that is. At the same time, they're going to have to learn to have to deal with each other to and get past their differences from the past to survive in this galaxy at this point in time. And I think that also becomes a very fascinating story through the eyes of a Padawan, who I'm going to assume eventually is going to learn from Maul and take in some dark side traits into her skills. She's also obviously not around by the time that Maul is searching for a new apprentice in Ezra. So I'm also curious as to what her fate might become in this show as well, because there feels like there's a lot to be told, and I hope that within 10 episode arcs, as we're getting, not 20 episode seasons like we did before in the past, or 16 episode seasons. I feel like that. I'm hoping we cut a lot of more of the fat out and get some really hard hitting stories in every episode for at least this season, just to kind of I feel like most of us at this point, we don't need filler stories in the Star Wars universe. We need strong, very powerful moments of connection, intersection, and all that for what we're getting here. So we'll see.
That's what I've loved about the Tales series, like especially Underworld. Like when we were with Bane,
yes,
dude, I was just like, yo, this is sad.
Yeah.
Yo, what? And then that ending, I was like, yo, that's effed up. I'm like,
yes,
like they really went with this way in animation.
Yeah.
I agree. And like, again, I think from what I had heard, and again, a lot of this stuff I always just hear and I don't think it's automatically canon, but I remember hearing a story that part of the outlines or drafts of scripts that George Lucas had given Disney, be like, listen, this is my outline and treatments for the sequel trilogy he had envisioned.
Right.
At one point, I think there was the idea of bringing back Darth Maul and having Darth Talon as his apprentice, and they would be the main antagonists for the sequel trilogy. And I was like, ooh, what if they're taking that element from that version of the sequel trilogy and putting it in Maul Shadow Lord, and how does that go about of a storytelling? And again, when that stuff happens, that again, it's never been confirmed, and I dare not want to bother George Lucas if I meet him one day and be like, George, did you put Maul and Talon back? And like, I'm like, oh, okay, he's been hearing all this nonsense in '77.
Here's another way of looking at this too. We're talking about they're still in this process of trying to set up whatever Rey story arc in the sequels, and we know characters can live longer than they need to and stuff like that. Maybe if this apprentice of Maul's does actually escape, go into hiding, she's a perfect adversary, hopefully down the track, to pop up, or an interesting story arc, because we're going to need more Sith down the track, and that's the big thing. Is like, what is going to drive any sort of Sith? And so maybe this is also a prequel setup to a character. That could be a big stretch, but it could be a setup of a character you could drop into a much future film down the track. This could be the origin story of that character. Whether it is or not, I don't know. I mean, they do like to play with taking animated characters and making them live action. That is definitely a certainty. Whether people are going to follow that, who knows? We'll see. It's keep the momentum going with characters and place them in place for much further down the track stories, I guess.
Make them more popular. Don't just rely on the usual suspects that we have for almost 50 years now. Like,
totally.
Which is why I've been, ecstatic, and yet being like, okay, use her more, but don't use her in every single thing. As when they've been bringing Ahsoka more into the limelight of like mainstream stuff, not just the character that's popular in the animated shows, but like, no, bring her live action. She has a novel out there that you can go buy. And I like that they're doing that for more characters. That way they're not just relying on the old school ones, which I love the old school ones.
Yeah.
We have a couple of comments here that I want to address.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for anybody who's bothered hanging out with us.
Hey
And
guys.
please keep the conversation going because we want to tackle all of them. Harrison James just say, I love the Kira book. More for yes, please. Okay, I'll definitely look into it.
Yeah.
A guy who loves Star Wars. What is up, gentlemen? This really got me so hyped. Thank you, man. Hell yeah, I'm effing hyped as hell for it.
Yeah.
Harrison James says, yo, shout out to Mike. Harrison, how you doing? Okay, they know each other. Amazing on Cloud 9 after the trailer. LOL, right? So
Yeah.
hyped. Yeah, dude, I thought it was just gonna be the Maul and Motu one. I didn't expect to be a whole day of animation love, which I applaud and cheer for. But it is sweet to have something Star Wars related to talk about beyond just a book and comic one out. Which, again, folks who don't know, before this show starts, they're going to be dropping a comic book series that's almost like a prequel or prologue to the show, which is a tie-in thing called Shadow something. I forget the name of that one up, but like it pretty much hyping up, I think, 2 or 3 of the characters in the show beyond Maul in it. So I love that there's this tie-in comic book for that. And since I brought that up, I do want to recommend folks, if you can find it nowadays, there's their original versions, there's new editions, but if you want a little bit of taste of Maul, besides what you saw him in Phantom Menace, and if you've never seen him in Clone Wars, or maybe you have and haven't heard this story before, they hint at it. I highly recommend you go watch and go read Son of Dathomir, the comic book miniseries. It is gorgeous and tells you how much Maul was loading up in terms of an organization, and you can even hear maybe a hint of that, like what happened there, because in the trailer we do see Rook Cast, played by Vanessa Marshall, who was one of his lieutenants from Mandalore.
Yes.
So that was awesome to see. And we also see, I guess, a new planet called Janix. I think that's the name of the location where we're going to be spending most of the time with Janix.
All right. I was wondering whether this is Coruscant or not.
Coruscant?
Obviously not. Yeah, it's not.
I think it's logical for him to stay away that close from the Emperor, who could potentially sense him like that if he was on the planet.
You're right. Yeah. I guess. Well, I'm trying to. Again, it's like I'm piecing together pieces. Like, does the Constable then come from Coruscant? Because I feel like we see some Coruscant artwork in the trailer there at some point.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong completely though. It's hard to tell. Plenty of planets left to explore. So
yeah. Harrison G does say, I do wonder if we could get any flashbacks to Son of Dathomir. Listen, we see some, I think they're called Dathomirians, right? Maul species and whatnot.
Yes.
We see some with him like holding like a Gatling gun, like lasers going up. Dude, the version I saw in television was just as bleak, but not bleaker of a show. But do we see beheadings? We see him just cutting through people over. Like, it is violent. And I remember him saying it's bad guys versus worse guys, and I love that space can exist in Star Wars. How do you feel about that, dude? Because it is just like, woof.
Yeah, it's like I wanted. I mean, obviously in the trailer we see some of the Inquisitors, some that we've already seen before, of course. I'm curious about that lizard creature that looks like he's a Jedi or Sith user, a Force user of some sort.
Yes.
So we're still getting plenty of the Force in this. We need that to fuel our systems, I feel. But I want to know. Yeah, I feel like you can't get more dangerous than Vader and Palpatine going up against Maul at some point, especially since they seem to be on this vendetta to have him killed. And so
that line was so good, dude. The Emperor wants you dead.
Oh yeah. So I'm extremely curious as to see how we how that all plays out. And again, it's like I don't want to read too much into it, so to speak, because I'm like I'm expecting that half the stuff I'm going to predict is going to be completely wrong anyway. So that's always a good thing, though. So we'll see.
Settle one expectations, but yet be ready for the excitement and stamina that I think the show's going to give us and whatnot. So yeah, for those who don't know, we did see a shot or a couple of shots, I believe, of Barrack. I think that's no Merrick. Merrick, that's the Inquisitor's name.
Yep.
That we see in in Tales, and we see him in Ahsoka, where he has a uniqueness to him. I'll leave it at that. Yeah. And we also do see the Inquisitor that is from the Ahsoka book that appeared in her. Did he get a name? I think he's like the 11th brother or something like that. I could be wrong. I don't remember having a full name and coded. He just, all I've seen is it's coded that like the 11th brother and whatnot. So this is the guy that I think Clancy Brown voices him.
Oh yes, he did too. Yes, in the Tales. Yeah.
Yes, Tales of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Some encounters with Inquisitors too. Fire, 100% Ronin. I agree. I agree, man.
You know
what else? Go ahead, please.
I was going to say the one thing that I actually really just found visually fascinating was right at the beginning of the trailer when he's pouring tea. Sitting at the his almost Japanese style of ceremonial symbolization, and basically the pouring of tea, as I had to check online to see exactly the words for it, is mindfulness, harmony, respect, purity, and tranquility, transforming a simple act into a spiritual practice rooted in Zen Buddhism. So
yes.
I think that's also interesting because that kind of also symbolizes a difference in the way Maul is approaching the galaxy now too. Because I don't think he's going to approach it as, even though he's no longer Sith, he's already said that we're going to get to see this transformation of Maul or Darth Maul to becoming Maul that we've seen in Star Wars Rebels. Because there is a definite change of that character between those 2 points in time, from when he last faces off with Palpatine and loses his brother in the Clone Wars right through to then. So this is going to be, how does Maul deal with the galaxy in this time, which I also find fascinating. He's not just going to be a faceless enemy that we've seen before. I feel like we're going to get some real depth to this character. And I feel like this might also include part of the Sam Witwer arc about his thought process on how this character develops to where we eventually see him at by the time Rebels comes through. But I did find that little tea ceremonial thing that he was doing. I'm assuming he's talking to going to be apprentice there. I feel like it was just an interesting visual moment, and I was like, that's very cool. It is ceremonious too.
It felt both samurai and also very Godfather-like. Where like in the beginning of the Godfather, the guy, the Undertaker, I believe in America, and I just see Vito holding his. When he starts crying, he's like, he tells his son, pour him some wine and whatnot. It's like it's a peace offering of like, listen, hear me out, listen to my philosophy, man. And again, it's the notion of him rising back to power to collect his organization and being like, do I want to go up against this thing? How do I go up against this thing? And the notion that Palpatine knows I'm alive.
Yes.
So he knows I'm a liability for him because I know what he was coming up. And like, I remember something that I remember when I met him, where I found him interesting, saying that like, Maul has an ace up his sleeve, right? And I'm like, and I remember being like, because again, it's the first time I was like, and he's like, Maul knows Palpatine's identity. So why hasn't he outed him yet?
Yeah.
He's just like, yo, is he gonna spill to someone like, yo, you know who the Emperor really is? He's a Sith Lord. He's the one who started this war.
Yeah.
And like, are we gonna see a first spark of a cell trying to overthrow the Empire? Like, it's fascinating how much like he thrives on chaos. So I wonder if like, even without himself coming out too much out of the shadows, he's gonna just start pushing people to just start making noise, much like Luthen. In a different scenario where he's like, all right, just start making noise. And then while you guys make noise, I can get my moolah and I can get my band back. And my disciples to like be like, yo, we're running the business again. I'm very fascinated to see the dynamic go about. And I wonder how that's gonna play out with a 2-episode release each week. I don't know. And again,
I mean, I don't know how they're going to frame these episodes, whether it's one continuous story or whether it's in Clone Wars style, where it's 2 or 3 episodes tell a single arc or a story, or whether it's individual episodes that have no connection. Well, I doubt it's going to be no connection to the next. But I feel like I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's you're right. It's going to be interesting to see how they play it.
And again, just seeing again, just something about seeing this, being like, oh yeah, the Iron Fist around the galaxy.
Gorgeous. Yeah, so gorgeous. That was the other thing I think I noted in my actual reaction was that we've still got the use of the Republic gunships here, and we're already a year or two into post the Clone Wars. So there's still this transition of old to the new that they're keeping even in this time. Obviously, those are vehicles that are still useful to this day. The other thing is the TK troopers. We obviously, we see them first appear at the end of the Bad Batch, last season of Bad Batch, where we see the TK troopers for the first time. So that's going to be interesting to see also, if they develop anything along that line, or whether they're just fully established as TK troopers at this point in time too, as part of that story.
And again, people who don't forget, we initially revisit the character in modern era with Rebels. Canonically, though, that dude shows up in Solo for a quick second, but he shows up in Solo.
Right.
So I'm wondering, are we gonna get to Solo? Is that gonna be addressed and whatnot? Like,
that's what I was gonna say.
Thing not to address.
Yeah. Again, that's why I'm questioning is like, we're a year after we've got 10, 15 years before Solo appears from period of time for the Clone Wars to Solo at least. And then you've got another 10 whatever years to Rebels. So you got this period, well, not quite that, but it's something in that range. So the question becomes for me is like, do we get to see Maul's entire arc over the course of this? Or are we going to get a situation like the Bad Batch where we see the character for a couple of years of their life in this time period, pick up on another character like Maul, and then, carry on with Maul's little side stories in other future stories? Do we get to see the Bad Batch at some point of this arc here? Do we get to see Crosshair going out on anything? Even though Hunter says, we keep quiet from here on in, I still don't believe that they wouldn't not be pulled in by Rex at the occasional time. Is Rex out there doing something during the Maul era? Is that too much of a complicated story to twine into all this as well? Because you do have the Rex factor. Rex is out there creating trouble for the Empire with whatever remaining clones are out there. Do we go that route? Does that become too complicated of the story? Is that story need to be told here, or does it get told in another future incarnation of a Star Wars animated series or live action down the track? That's what I do love about it. We've got so many stories to be told, and they've set up an overwhelming amount of stories. They can't all cross over each other. But I don't know. What are your thoughts? Do you think we'll cross over with Rex at any point?
If they do, here's the thing that I give a challenge to a lot of these projects now coming out. I'm not saying this because the transition of presidency, but this is a challenge I want to do, and I've been saying this about the Mandalorian and Grogu film.
Yeah,
each of these projects has to be a good entry point to anybody who's never seen Star Wars.
Sure.
And yet you can't negate all of us who's been watching these shows.
Yeah.
That, to be quite frank, haven't gotten the marketing push that I would hope, like the live action stuff always gets.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that, and so if you bring in Rex in, good, but he's gotta be brought in where, like, if my grandmother who's never seen these shows can watch it and get it,
she's gonna know who Rex was first.
Yes, much like Rebels for me. That's where I first met Rex. Was like, oh, okay, he was an old captain of the Grand Army of the Republic, and then I went back to Clone Wars, and it just enhanced the experience. So I hope they do that.
Yeah,
and again, you look, you hinted at earlier that like there's gonna be a couple of Force users in this show that aren't Maul. How do they feel about someone like him approaching with this point of view? And it's like they would think he'd be in on it, but him probably telling no, I'm not part of the Empire. And to be quite frank, I wouldn't even be surprised if at one point he tells them, "Listen, for tonight only, you and I share a common enemy." And it's just like, yo, what does that mean? It's like, how does that dynamic shift? Because him offering a truce to Ahsoka was like, that's a shaking bit that I was like, ooh, if only we could explore that dynamic.
Yeah.
That's something that you can go and be like, yo, when is the other shoe gonna drop?
Yeah.
If the other shoe is gonna drop.
Yeah. I mean, new characters like this guy, obviously some sort of force user. I'm going to assume just because of the situation, looks like a once Padawan or once Jedi who is living on the street trying to survive is my first immediate guess, but I could be completely wrong. I love the look of the design of this character though. It's great.
Yeah, man. I'm rewatching the trailer again in like in another tab, and like it is mind-bending the level of detail for the 8K. Like I call it 8K, it's 4K. But yeah, man, even seeing, what was another fraction I wanted to like bring up? Like, are we gonna bring what's it called? Mount Tantus, the thing from the Bad Batch, for like all the secret projects. Like is that gonna be something like diving into more?
I hadn't thought about that. That could be interesting too.
Yeah, and so
what is this place?
I don't know, dude.
It looks so cool.
Yeah, man, and I'm very interested to see how much universe getting the galaxy dropping Maul is gonna be doing, and how hard is this investigator, played by Wagner Moore, gonna be going down on him to investigate what's he up to and what's he doing here, and like, oh man, I can't wait. I think, unless there's something else you want to bring up, if not, we'll probably start wrapping things up discussion wise, because here. You brought up earlier.
You know what? The poster as well.
I'll bring it up.
Yeah.
Yes. I like it. To me, it's a good thing for a phone wallpaper. I want to see that like spread out and seeing how that can can look across a whole like computer and whatnot. And it's got like some old school painting going to it when it's part of the mall section of it.
Yeah.
But let me see. Bring it up.
Yeah. I think that's what I liked about it when I first saw it. It's like it's more basics. It goes back to basics in its style, but it's like it's pretty cool.
Here you go.
And I wish some of these shows were there on the big screen. I'd love to see them. Yeah. It's an old fashioned sketch painting, a sketch drawing almost. It's almost like Dave Filoni drew this and they took it and they, which is
use Photoshop of it.
Yeah.
I dig it, man.
Yeah.
I'm very to see what the Kiners cook up, because between Tales stuff, they've been stretching the legs with the music they could do with the Tales series. So and I'm very, because again, in the teaser we got yesterday, they used Duel of Fates. So I'm like, are we just gonna rely on Duel of Fates, or are we gonna pump up a new theme for Maul, other than obviously what John Williams did, which is part of his DNA?
I'm curious to see what they do with this new Apprentice soundtrack. That's going to be one. But yeah, I feel like Maul. But the other thing is that Maul is no longer that character that requires that soundtrack, but is what we most connect him to directly. Is John Williams's Maul's Maul soundtrack piece, that Duel of the Fates. I feel like I still want to hear it on occasion because it just makes me giddy than anything else. I think it's about that. There is a nostalgia element that is always fun to listen to. But there are, there's been a lot of people that either don't watch the animation or have been turned off by the live action TV shows in recent years. And so it's, I feel like that so far the buzz on the internet right now has been pretty positive for this trailer already. And I'm curious to see how it does with the general base when it does come out. Does it pull Star Wars further and pull back a crowd into animation that may not have been there before? That's the big thing.
Between the action, I think it will, because they've been hinting at like Maul and Savage killed a lot of Jedi that we're not aware of, and like the way they take out a lot of the stormtroopers in this teaser, I could believe that aspect. And I hope at a point like he comes to terms that like, dude, you may not like what the Empire is doing with the galaxy right now, but like you helped lay the foundation, dude. Like you have as much. And again, I hope that like the memories of maybe not even Obi-Wan, but like Satine haunts him, and like wow, she was someone who was gonna like saw things differently, and like how would have that gone if I had not gone and messed around with that? And Savage, the notion of losing a brother, and how's that probably going to potentially
Yeah.
haunt him, because
Yeah.
I think at one point Dave said that he had a sequence in the Twin Suns episode where, like, in the desert, he sees a mirage of Savage.
Oh,
And
really?
it's like, I wonder if that's going to happen to him at one point when he
Interesting.
probably potentially starts going mad. And
It would be good to see the backstory told, if for people who may not have followed any of the more animated stuff, through these moments that we already know to the new apprentice, because he's going to have to explain himself to a youngling, who was once a youngling, as to why he has this drive to. I mean, we don't necessarily see that when he talks to Ezra, though. It's like, well, he's different with Ezra, though, too. So again, it's like there's things that I want to see happen in this show with this first apprentice, is where I'm going to go with it, as to how it might reflect on Rebels and how he interacts with Ezra, because I feel like that the character, the person he is with Ezra, may very well be different with this character here. And I want
Devon,
to see I want to see that dynamic happen. So I'm very, it's more curiosity than anything else.
in a perfect world, if there's some point where they do a flashback to Maul before the events of episode 1, and I'm saying this as someone who, like, for me, Sam Witwer is.
I hadn't even
Darth
thought
Maul.
about that. Yeah,
Sam Witwer is Darth Maul for me, live action or animation. He is for me. That's just how I feel about it. It would be cool if we did a flashback before episode 1,
right?
And we bring back Peter Serafinowicz and, like, as a young Maul, and be like, all right, Peter, for just like a day, come voice these few lines and be like,
could be interesting.
As the Jedi will reveal, like, that'd be so poetic.
Possibly, but the reality is only had 8 lines or something like that in Phantom Menace, so it really was never that big of an impact. I wouldn't mind it just being, Sam
doing a younger version.
Yeah. But then on top of it, we have seen who he was before. We saw the whole story develop with Mother Talzin in the Clone Wars, and we saw how he becomes, this powerful apprentice kind of thing. So we never see the direct connection to Palpatine's story arc, but we actually see, how he was forged and found and discovered. So there's things like that are cool too. So anyway, we'll see.
Harrison James says that they gave us Baby Yoda, give us Baby Maul. LOL. No,
no, I'm fine with that. Yeah, no.
Mother Tallis. Mother Tallis. I'm just saying that there's an angle in the Son of Dathomir book that you can see that connection there.
Yeah, we also got Ventress too, who's floating around out there. That could be an interesting cross tie. There's the ability of cross tying certain things. She definitely feels like a character that we definitely could see in this show. I doubt we'll ever see Ahsoka in this story arc. I don't think there's a need to have Ahsoka, but I think Ventress seems like another developing idea that would be fun to see intersect in this story.
I agree. There's some characters that you think should be an instinct that I would say hold back, because I think it might take away the impact.
It could too.
Of when they do unite or reunite in other shows like Rebels. Like, again, the line is running away again, Lady Tano. Like, if she showed up here, that thing would have less of an impact. It'd be like, yo, after all these years, still running and whatnot. Like,
sure. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Folks, I think I'm going to conclude the stream. Thank you so much for anybody who bothered watching it live right now with us. If you're watching the replay, thank you for taking the time to check it out. Hopefully you've seen the trailer and then come hang out with us to hear our 2 cents about it. Brent, thank you so much, my friend, for hanging out.
No, absolutely. It was fun.
Please plug yourself. Let people know where they can find you.
You can check out all my content on Age of Grogu. I just dropped some trailer reactions today for He-Man and the Master of the Universe. Obviously one for Maul Shadow Lord. I'll be doing reactions to Maul Shadow Lord when it comes up in a month and a half's time. I'll be doing some other reactions for probably One Piece and a few other series, but then I also do a series of unboxings very soon. They're taking it out of my bank account next week. The Hot Toys Asajj Press is going to be released, so hopefully within a week or two I'm going to have that action figure and I'm going to do a really nice unboxing for it. So that keep an eye out for, and then that's basically it. Thanks.
Beautiful. Let's see. And then I think we have one last comment. Harrison says, "Big thanks, Ronan, Brent, much love." Thanks, Harrison. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you,
Folks. Share the enthusiasm. Share this video across all
Yep.
social medias. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. The more people know about this, the more we can get other guests from other shows. People who have worked on Maul Shadow Lord, anybody at ILM or Lucasfilm is watching this, we would love to have you on and talk to you about this and just get giddy about it. That's a passion of mine, an ambition of mine. I have reactions. I have two reactions. I have for the version I saw in Japan that's out on it's an audio reaction, and then I have a reaction for the one that dropped this morning. You can go check out. And as soon as this is done, I'm gonna start working on my Invincible season 4 trailer reaction. So you'll be getting a lot of stuff in the coming few days. Yeah.
Nice.
So until then, everybody, take care and may the force be with you.